Hey there, crafty friends! Thanks so much for stopping by the channel today. I'm so excited to share some projects for the Newton's Nook Design Sweet Treats blog hop. I am going to make a Valentine's Day heart card with a pocket featuring the Newton's Nook Heart Frames dies, the Heartfelt Love stamp set, as well as the Smitten Kittens. There are two $25 gift certificates to the store for prizes, as well as loads of inspiration, and all the information will be linked in the description box below. I hope you can join us, so let's get started. So I cut out two of the hearts, one using the largest die and then also the scalloped die. Now for the scalloped die, I cut that out using some Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I did go ahead and stamp a pattern. I used the sentiments from the Heartfelt Love stamp set to create a word block background. I stamped and embossed it using some white embossing powder, and my plan is to go ahead and do some ink blending with that panel. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and create a heart-shaped card base. So using a cardstock panel that's 8.5 by 4.5, I went ahead and scored it in half, and this is going to be the card base. I'm going to use my bone folder to give it a nice good crease and cut it using the largest heart die. I'm using about 100-pound cardstock. Anything thicker than that and you might have some issues with it cutting all the way through without using a shim. This cardstock that I used was easily cut doing one pass through my Big Shot. So I'm going to tape the die with the left side of the heart hanging over the folded edge of the card base. And you want to do that because that is going to be the fold in your actual card. So I ran it through, and now I'm just separating the cardstock from the die to reveal our heart-shaped card. And I love it with the stitching and how it also transfers to the inside. Now that we have our card base done, I'm going to go ahead and grab some distress inks. So I'm going to use the Fired Brick, the Festive Berries, as well as the Worn Lipstick Distress inks to create a red ombre style background. So I just use this little Post-it to help keep the oils from my fingers from getting on the card, and it also helps me from getting my fingers too inky as well. Starting off with the darker color at the bottom, the Fired Brick, I went ahead and used my little daubers to get that ink on there, and I'm blending it with the Festive Berries as well. I do like to go back over a couple times to get some nice solid inking. The top portion of the heart is the lightest color, which is the Worn Lipstick. And then once I get all of those nicely blended, my panel is all done. So to create the pocket, I'm going to use some liquid glue, and I'm just going to adhere it to the sides of the heart that I want to be sealed to the front of my card panel. I'm lining it up where I want it to be centered. And then once it dries, I'm going to have that nice pocket. Now I always use a bone folder to press down to smooth out that glue so that I don't get hard lumps as it dries. For the sentiment, I cut out this little banner with the white cardstock using the Banner Trio die set, and with some Versamark, I am going to go ahead and emboss the XOXO sentiment with some gold embossing powder. I love to emboss, and I usually do my images as well as all of my sentiments and backgrounds. I used an anti-static powder tool to help eliminate any excess embossing powder sticking on my little banner. And I'm going to go ahead and grab a piece of scratch paper and sprinkle that gold embossing powder over the sentiment. Once I have it evenly distributed with no extra specks on there, I'm going to go ahead and heat up my heat tool for a few seconds, getting it nice and hot, and then that powder is ready to be melted. And I love the way that that looks. Now my sentiment panel is done, and I stamped and embossed this kitty, and now I'm going to go ahead and get it colored. So I chose to do a little orangey tiger striped kitty, which is what I have a little kitty named Woody. And so using the E97, I'm just sketching in some of the little stripes in the fur, getting the back legs as well as the front legs, portions of the tail, and of course all around the face. To blend that out, I use the YR12. And I go over those stripes, blending those out. With my lighter color, my YR00, I'm going to go ahead and blend those stripes out again, as well as filling in the areas in between, kind of framing around his sweet little face. The lightest color in this blend is YR0000. And so that kind of just fills in the face a little bit. It might look a little funny right now, but I am going to go over with another layer, and that is going to help complete the blend and put our little kitty together. So going in with the E97, I'm going to frame the ears and then darken in those stripes just a little bit, blending again with the YR12 and the YR00, bringing that again towards the center of his face, wanting his front part of his face to stay the lightest. Now again with my lightest color, I can blend that color towards the center again. Using the RV00, I'm going to draw in some of those little cheeks and blend it out with my lightest YR color. Now his little face is done, and I'm going to work on his little feet. So for his little feet, I'm just taking the darkest oranges and starting from the bottom up. I'm blending that out towards the top of his feet, which I want to be the lightest color. His little feet are going to be more white with the little pink paw pads. So now that I have his feet done, I'm sketching in his ear with the YR00 and the RV00. That just adds a little pink for the inside of his ears. And for his front fluffy area, I want that to appear more white. I'm using my warm grays for that. The W0 blending out with the W00. And then I'm going to sketch in the E01 for his little toes and blend that out with the RV00. I wanted to have more definition with the front part of his fur and feet, so I brought in the W1 to draw in a little bit of fur, and then I'll blend that out again using the lighter warm gray markers. So that completes his fur, and for his little nose, I'm going to use the R85, blending it out with the R81. Now his little eyes have room to sketch in a little bit of color, and I do so very carefully with the YG63, just adding a really fine line of green to give him a little spot of color in his eyes. Using the coordinating die set, I'm going to go ahead and tape that around my kitty and run it through my die cutting machine. And then now it's time to stamp a sentiment in the middle of the card. Now you don't have to do the card. You can just do a single panel and just use the heart pocket. But I wanted it to be a little card, so I'm stamping the sentiment, Happy Valentine's Day, from the Heartfelt Love stamp set. And I'm using some VersaFine black ink. So now it's time to put the card panel together, and I'm going to go ahead and use the liquid glue to glue down the sentiment. I popped up the kitty using some double-sided foam adhesive, and I'm going to go ahead and peel off the backing on that, and then just add a little bit of glue, since I am going to be gluing onto some embossed words there, and I want it to stick nicely. Once I have the kitty sitting where I want him to be, I'm just going to go and press him down firmly so that he's adhered to that front panel. And then now it's time to glue it to my card base. I do prefer using the liquid glue. I find that it lasts much longer, it doesn't come apart, and you have a little time to get it positioned exactly how you want it so that it's not crooked. And I do like to smooth out that glue using my bone folder so that I don't have any hard dried glue in there. And then there's my pocket, and as you can see, you can fit quite a bit in that pocket. I chose to fill it with these little Ghirardelli chocolates, and those go in there perfectly. Now, I was looking for the original size, and this one is a candy from Christmas, but I just wanted to show you that the original size Ghirardelli chocolates will fit in there as well. So that is our finished card, and I wanted to share some others that I created. This is a little black and white tuxedo kitty that I colored up, and I used the Tumbling Hearts stencil with some glitter paste. This panel I stamped with gold embossing powder, the Heartfelt Roses stamp. And the last one features this adorable little Siamese kitty, and I used the Heartfelt Love to stamp that background using some white embossing powder and some more ombre inking in pinks. So here are 4 different sweet treats featuring the Heart Frames die, whether you choose to make a card or just a pocket. There's so many ways that you can use it and decorate it. I hope you enjoyed my project today. Thanks so much for stopping by again, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and don't forget to click on the link in the description box below to join the hop. Bye everybody. Until next time, happy crafting.